seems that Trump may indeed have a new plan for Iran. What is he cooking? What's up his sleeve? Well, my friends, he's talking more and more about basically leaving the Strait of Hormuz open as is. He's talking about maybe even bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran to such point that he would seem to be assured that it would be very difficult for the Iranians to extricate the materials therein. So it seems to be that we're leaning less against putting boots on the ground. Now, all this could be posturing. It could be, if you're going to have a war, you don't want to tell the enemy what you're going to do. You want to have the Sun Tzu factor, basically, to make it look like you're going to do one thing and you do another. So it's really hard to say with absolute certainty what's in Trump's mind, where he's wanting to go with this. He's known for being a negotiator. That's what he takes pride in, whether you accept that or not. But you don't transmit what you're going to do. So we do know there are still active plans for boots on the ground. We do know that we've sent a bunch of Marines there. More Marines are on their way. The Tripoli is there. The USS Boxer is on its way. We know that 82nd Airborne has groups there, and more could be on their way. Now, all this could be just posturing or pressure to try to get Iran to negotiate. We also know now that he is negotiating with some so-called more moderate members of the Iranian regime. Now, moderate in Iranian, let me translate that. That is going from super bat from extra super bat guano crazy to just super bat guano crazy in terms of levels of fanaticism. Wow, we got a super chat off the bat. Thank you for that tonight. Appreciate that very much, Kerry. So here's the thing. Good morning. Good early morning. Yeah, my friends, I'm not going to do articles tonight. We're just going to talk. I'm going to share with you some thoughts and where this could go. And I'm probably going to have to go on Silverhead News to lay out the real ramifications of some of this stuff, and another night or two. Tomorrow, we're hopefully launching the space launch system with the Artemis 2. So that may have my attention tomorrow, depending on where that launch goes off or not. Now, all this said, my friends, I'll be live on Galactic Greg's if we're launching. But then again, we may come back on here later or go to Silverhead News. And I got something I want to talk about, and probably need to be on Silverhead News because it's more political in nature than I want to get into on this channel. Now, my friends, let's talk this stuff a little bit. So there is reasons that Trump may be transmitting his real intention, because there is tremendous pressure on the GOP. The MAGA group is divided over what's going on in Iran, and because there's a high expense to them at home for what's going down. A lot of them never supported it in the first place. The no more foreign wars philosophy. So I have too many things to plant indoors and not enough room. Hey, I hear that. So my indoors is pretty small here. So I'm just going to talk a little bit, and I'll go back into the chat room. We're going to talk a little bit tonight. So what he's saying, what Trump is saying, for those just joining us, is that he is looking at maybe just pulling out. He says, I don't have to close the Strait of Hormuz. And quite frankly, from a U.S. standpoint, we don't have, our fertilizer is very dependent in prices on what's coming through the Strait of Hormuz. But we can, in America, get some other sources from some of that stuff. It's going to be more pricey, but that price is already baked in now. In terms of fuel, the United States can produce what we consume here. And we got Venezuela now at our beck and call. So we're not as reliant on the Strait of Hormuz or even the Red Sea as is Europe. Europe is critically reliant on it. Southeast Asian nations, Eastern Asian nations are very dependent on the Strait of Hormuz, specifically, not the Red Sea. As we know, the Houthis are in the process of perhaps closing down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which leads into the Red Sea. That's a mouthful to say, but anyway. So is it open? No, it's not open. There apparently is some more traffic going through there, and Iran is charging tolls for some of that. So here's the thing: Trump is saying, "Yeah, we don't have to open it." And from an American standpoint, that is somewhat true. He's also talking that, hey, we could, like I said earlier here, is that they may just bomb the heck out of the nuclear facilities to get themselves some notion that maybe the Iranians would not be able to dig up the stuff that is there in terms of the highly enriched nuclear materials without some due process, some time. Maybe they could actually cause damage to it within the structure. I kind of doubt that. I mean, we could bomb the entrances, but you could still dig that stuff out sooner or later. So I think Trump is maybe hunting a quick exit plan. And it is true that Iran has probably been delayed 5 or 10 years in whatever pursuits they were going after. Be it known this, Iran will go after them probably with more vigor than ever before, including a nuclear program, and they're going to have more angst against the United States, which already had a lot of that. And a lot of people don't realize that. Because then if things, when Americans are taken out overseas, it just don't make news like it does when it happens here. Yeah, we've lost a lot of American lives. The embassy in Beirut, the Marine barracks in Beirut, the embassy we had major embassies in Kenya and Tanzania is the proper way to say it, which were all taken out, bombed, blown completely up by Iranian forces. We had a lot of soldiers lost, both Iraq and Afghanistan, by Iranian supplied IED materials. You can ask my friend Colonel Cole about that. He's not in the house tonight. And there's, of course, they took Americans hostage, and there's been other incidences. So, to say that, I've had somebody who Iran never did anything to us. That's not true. That's not true. And they always said death to America before they said death to Israel and all their chants. And they always called us the great Satan in Israel, the little Satan. They said Israel was just our proxy. So their target was the United States ultimately, but they couldn't reach us immediately. They were going for Israel first. But that's another story. That's a whole other story. The thing, though, is that if the Trump administration loses the midterm elections in both the House and the Senate, Trump will be impeached and removed, not an impeachment trial in the House. He'll be removed from office, and so will J.D. Vance. Now, somebody didn't get the gravity of this, when I said that the Speaker of the House, they would put a Democrat in the presidency. If the House is Democrat, the Speaker of the House is Democrat, that means you'll get a Democrat president. So you got to understand that. Now, some people think, okay, well, that's fine. You forget the wide open borders. You forget the fentanyl that was coming in this country. You forget a lot of things. You forget during the Biden administration, I couldn't say nearly what I'm saying today on YouTube. I was almost shut down. Your freedom of speech is gone. If you lean slightly conservative even, China will be all over us. There is a lot of ramifications. I'm going to go in more detail on that over my Silverhead News. I'm not going to talk that too much here. But the thing is that there will be ramifications. Yeah, remember the drag queen story hour? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you'll be seeing coming back, but coming back bigger than you've ever seen before. Remember the new Green Deal? Remember when the cough bug went around, everybody had to shut down? You really don't. Gun control, that's enough right there that we may wind up with a civil war here in America. So this is not trivial by any stretch of the imagination. You may not accept that. I know a lot of us aren't happy with Trump, but the outcome of where this could lead overall, it could be devastating inside this country. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. All that said, this may be why Trump is looking for a quick exit plan, and it may be too late already. All this stuff may be baked in. We'll just have to see. The economy is going to have to show a major turnaround really fast because we're, 7 months from the election? So Can things turn around fast enough to swing things? It's going to be that's going to be a tall pole to climb. All that said, uh, you know, there's things that I'm not been happy with on the Trump administration, especially with regards to the way he handled the Epstein files. And we got the left just absolutely declaring he's a pedophile. I haven't seen any evidence of that. We do know Sniffy Joe took showers with his daughter, but all that aside, they forget that stuff. So there's a lot of things out there that I gotta be careful what I say. Oh yeah, thinking about Canada. What's going on in Canada today? That's where you can see the United States heading in a hurry. We could be like Canada, if you really want to know. Um, in Canada, if you remember, they were trying to pass legislation that they could go back and look at your Facebook post since you first went on Facebook, and anybody could look at it and declare they were offended and cause you to be, they would get paid a reward for that, and you would be fined or imprisoned severely for each and every instance. That's anything that they regard offensive or disinformation, which means anything that doesn't agree with their worldview. You need to understand what we could be facing. Uh, they talk, about tyranny under Trump. Well, we had tyranny under our Biden, and it could get a lot worse real fast. Just think if AOC gets more power, things like that. And look at Danny, whatever his name is, the mayor of New York City. I want to live in Snowflake Mesa, too hot. uh, there you go. Well, there's some mesas around here, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm over a mile high. It's actually going to get to freezing here again one night soon. But anyway, so I'm glad somebody agrees with me. A lot of people are not going to agree with what I'm saying. A lot of my followers here are not going to agree with what I'm saying right now. But I'm going to talk it more on Swivelhead News tomorrow or the next day pretty soon. We're just going to have a discussion about where these things could head and what it means. And, MAGA isn't just the president of the United States. He may have officially started the movement, but really and truly, it was already in the works. I mean, it was the rising discontent of people dealing with the liberal left leading this country, the rhino Republicans and the news media that we were dealing with. But they're going to go full tilt if they come back in. They're already talking it, guys. They're trying to make it happen. Any area south of Payson is too hot. Right, Kerry, right. Yeah, I couldn't deal with it down there. I could not deal. Yeah, those of you who are not in Arizona don't know, but everybody outside of Arizona thinks Arizona's hot. That's not true. It can get real cold up here. The truth, I've seen it snow the 19th of April just this past year, the past April. Now it's April again. Hey, it's April Fool's Day already. Wow. Happy Columbus Day. Anyway, so my friends, there's a lot of things that we've got to take into consideration. We're in a fifth turning, and fifth turnings, you don't know which way they're going to turn. And we got a lot of forces wanting to turn us towards socialism, which is a polite way of saying communism. So these are things that we've got to start factoring in. Like I said, I'm going too far into depth of that for this channel right now already. So if you've not seen my Swivelhead News channel, go to it, subscribe to it. I may have to open it up here and find it for you guys to show it to you. Those that haven't seen it, we will go in more detail there. In fact, I am going to open a link to it so that we can look at it shortly. I will pull up some links in a little bit. But this whole thing with Iran is that Trump is apparently looking for a fast exit. He doesn't need bragging rights, basically, that he's had a victory because, strong men don't survive long without being strong, no matter what kind of government you're in. So if he loses his invincibility and looks not strong, his political capital drops to nothing. It's just a power dynamic of leaders of that ilk. It's more so in authoritarian countries, but that's just the way that psychology and the support systems for it work. in any event, so let me type this and I'm going to bring it up here so that I can show it to you guys in a little bit. Bing, 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 bing. All right. I'll leave it there for the moment. So here's the thing. Just a heads up, shipping prices are going up in April. Oh yeah, absolutely, because fuel's up. Shipping prices, air freight, passenger freight, everything's going up. This based on this higher cost of fuel. Well, here's one of the driving factors. When Trump said that he might pull out without without opening the Strait of Hormuz, the stock market shot up, and oil prices dropped significantly because the market wants this over with. The market seems to think if we just end the war now and even let Iran dominate the area, they will back off enough to let ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe not to us, but into the global marketplace. It doesn't make a lot of difference because oil is priced for the global market, not what we have here. And we actually have enough here. And it's the same way with other commodities such as fertilizer. So if fertilizer is going to East Asia and not coming here, it still drives the global market price. Unfortunately, a lot of that market price stuff is already baked in, as I've covered previously in this channel, because it is this. Now, fortunately, a lot of farmers had ordered some of this stuff earlier and got their discounts early, but it's still the case that we're coming up on planting season. It's not got here yet. If fuel costs are still up, it's really going to drive the cost of food considerably. The petrodollar ended the petrodollar actually ended before that technically, but the United States has used other means to try to keep the dollar as the world's reserve currency. That's a long discussion. So there's still something of a virtual petrodollar, but in 2023. Saudi Arabia started taking other currencies for oil, and that was primarily due to their angst with the Biden administration. They hated Joe Biden, the Saudis did. And the Saudis haven't been, all that great and wonderful and sweet people either, to be honest. Taco Tuesday. Well, Wizard, you can't say Trump's a taco because he bombed the crap out of Iran. And he also bombed the crap, he went into Maduro. But they're facing political pressures right now, and he will probably bomb Iran some more because they're trying to diminish the Iranian military capability, Iran's ability to spring back fast. It might be that Israel could do what they call mowing the yard and keep Iran from rising back up to the level they were at previously, especially given now they have refueling tankers. But that remains to be seen. Will the United States get involved again like they have now? No. Not if the Republicans lose the midterms. It will not happen ever. It will be radioactive. If Iran gets nukes of all kinds and builds a ginormous military and starts attacking, we still will not get involved. We will not be involved until maybe they hit us here. And they could be a lot more powerful than they were before we started. Kind of like in Afghanistan. We left Afghanistan, we left a lot of stuff behind. And the Taliban is stronger today than they were when we went in to start with. They're not hitting us, fortunately, right now. But, they had their biggest thing that caused us trouble with them was they allowed themselves to be the base of operations for Al Qaeda at that time. You could expect to see things like that arise again. And you can expect strikes here from organizations like that. Not to say all of that was them. And I think there were some, suspicious things. I got to be careful what I say on here. There were some very suspicious things in regard to, we just so happened that day to have all our jets that might have defended the situation on some training exercise far away from where they needed to be. And, there was something about Cheney being involved in some of that. And, there were some suspicious things, let's put it that way. And then when it came to Building 7, that phrase from Silverstein, pull it. I'm not talking about a chicken either, if you know what I mean. So, guys, there's a lot of, I got to be careful. I'm walking on thin ice on this platform. And if Cackles Kamala or AOC or anybody with that ilk were president, this video may be pulled in the future. They may go back and pull this channel completely, because I would not be surprised. I have had videos that were older that got deleted by YouTube. They said, "Oh, this it was acceptable when I put it up, but all at once it wasn't acceptable anymore." So you can expect things like that to start happening. Hey, fun time. So what we're looking at here is now they're still making plans. They're still talking about maybe taking out Iranian power grid, Iranian desalination plants. Some people say that would be a war crime if we took out their power grid. Well, we'll just have to see. Now, I have read some analysts talking about, well, if he does all these things, Iran will just keep hitting and we'll lose because they'll keep firing missiles. That's actually, if you take out their power grid, for a while they'll have generators and stuff that could run some of their military installations, but they'll deplete their fuel and they'll have nothing to pump it with. And if you take out their refining facilities and you take down their power grid, they will lose command and control capability. Iran actually could lose the ability to manufacture and fire missiles and drones. So it could be the one thing that would shut Iran down. So taking down a power grid would be horrendous on the people there too. But then again, that might be what would get them to rise up and defy the odds of going after people that's mowing you down. And the protesters got mowed down, some 30,000 in their previous protest regime. But maybe if things get that dire, a lot of the IRGC and beige forces would actually go home to take care of mom and the kids instead of manning their post. When things get really, really bad, military, police, and things like that tend to leave their post. It happens worldwide. It's always happened. It happened, in New Orleans when Katrina hit within 3 days. A lot of police left their post. Have we got a super chat? Well, thank you, Fun Time. Appreciate that. So to say that might open Iran wide open for us to go in and grab uranium and stuff like that. Wide open, not entirely. I mean, our forces would still have to set up a defensive perimeter. They would still be under attack while they're trying to do mining operations to get down to this stuff, if that's what they have to do, that nuclear material. And then they still got to deal with the fact that it's extremely toxic, even without the uranium-60. The hexafluoride is caustic and toxic to the nth extreme. It is terrible stuff. Then you put highly enriched uranium in that, it's all in gas form. And being in gas makes it, it's in these tubes. Those tubes are fragile. Those fragile tubes have exceedingly deadly contents in them. Suddenly you got to go in the middle of a war when you're getting shot at, operating heavy equipment, and remove these extremely fragile cylinders, and then you got to get them on a plane or something and fly them out. Maybe Chinook helicopters. Maybe they'll have a landing strip and run C-30s in and out, which could be hit with fire from Iran. So that's not an easy operation by any stretch of the imagination. We're talking, it would be the biggest special forces operation the United States ever conducted, probably, to try to do that. It would be fraught with risk, even with Iran knocked down hard. Not to say it couldn't be done, and it might be worth doing, but then again, that would just make it take several years longer for Iran to get back to the same level, maybe 20 years in this case, because they'd have to start enriching stuff all over again. But Iran has a lot of raw uranium ore in their mountains. They can mine it and start all over again. And they might even trade. A lot of the stuff they got was supplied to them by North Korea in terms of missile technology. They got a lot of missile fuel from China. It was Russia that went in and built their nuclear plants for them, which they use as processing facilities. It's Russia that's giving them intel and targeted information they're attacking us with. So, and actually supplying Shahed drones to them right now. that might continue. Uh, but the command and control structure would be gone if they lose their power grid, just gone. Uh, so that would really knock them down very significantly, especially if they don't have fuel. Remember, you got to pump fuel, you got to transport fuel. Without a power grid, you're going to run out of that stuff, especially if you hit the refineries and everything else, which is probably what they would do. So if the United States want to go in and extract that uranium, if they take down a power grid, it's more doable. Uh, but and that would buy time, maybe 20 years in that case. But there's this adage. Everybody says, "Well, Iran's been 2 weeks away from having the bomb for 20 years." There is some truth to that, and actually, they probably were. The thing is, they were probably a short term, maybe wasn't 2 weeks, but a few months from having a bomb. Well, now they're a few weeks from having 11 bombs. That's the difference. What they've done is they just kept enriching more and more and more and more uranium to 60%. So, a lot of people dismiss that. It's, oh, well, we've heard that for 20 years, so that can't be. No, it actually could have been. It actually could have been. It's just that now they got a whole lot more. They could get up to par a lot faster. So, one bomb would only been enough to get them wiped out. And it's probably still get wiped out. Israel would nuke the snot out of them if they got into throwing nukes around. But it would only take 2 nukes to end Israel. And Iranians have dug in. And that tunneling technology, all the tunnels built in Iran were facilitated by the North Koreans. The North Koreans have been dug into North Korea for decades, and they just keep tunneling. They are the tunnel masters. They got all their tunneling expertise from North Korea, something a lot of people don't know. North Korea is really tight with Iran. That's why I've suggested, even if Iran don't get a nuke, at least inside of Iran, they might get some at sea from North Korea, and they might be able to launch an EMP attack on the United States that way. You can't discount it. It could happen, but let's hope it don't. So just things to consider, things to think about. We're not out of the woods, and we're not going to be out of the woods in this situation unless the regime falls, unless some true moderates take over. Now, supposedly, Donald Trump is negotiating with this Speaker of the Parliament, and he's supposedly a little bit more moderate. Now, you remember what I just said earlier. Being moderate in Iran and inside this regime is the difference between being super back guano crazy and being extraordinary super back guano crazy. Okay, that's the difference. They still got that 12er Shia belief system, and that's the 12th Imam that believe is going to come back out of this well and do all kind of crazy stuff, but they believe they got to have a nuclear war practically to make that happen. So what's going to come there is hard to say. Now, if the protesters were to take over, it would totally flip everything, totally. But the only way I see to do that is to arm them. I would hope that if we didn't do anything else, that we would fly in. I actually saw somebody, I've been saying this for weeks, and I just saw some other writer put that in an article. Then just like today. So, okay, about time somebody else said this, about time somebody else thought about that. So, yeah, that would be the single best way to get a change in the regime. I mean, apparently the majority of people in Iran are not fond of the Ayatollah Islamic Republic regime. It's over 50%. So if they had the means to defend themselves and the Basij's forces from the IRGC, they might just put an end to that stuff. And that would be an interesting day. That would change the world if that happened. And all it takes is flying in a bunch of small arms. And we do have small arms forward packaged in the area. That's a fact. But will we do it? Would we do it? Like I said, it is something of a violation of some of the small arms trafficking laws and treaties and things like that. So, but that's what really needs to happen. Will it happen? I don't know. There's no talk public about it. But of course, if you were going to do that, you probably wouldn't talk about it. But then again, we've been real loose to talk about Cargill, and maybe we'll take it, maybe we won't, maybe we'll bomb it to smithereens, maybe we'll hold it. You know, if we did take Cargill, if we could maintain it, we could probably only maintain if we took down the power grid, because otherwise, in Iran, because otherwise the Iranians are going to be attacking. Now, if we took down the power grid in Iran, sleeper cells might take hours down here at home. And that's probably the biggest risk. I was never fond of us going into Iran in the first place. And a lot of people were mad at me about that, going, why? And I've even got accused of being a blue haired lesbian by some of my longtime fans on this channel. And it's like, really? No, the reason was that we do have risk at home from sleeper cell agents. If they took down a power grid, we're dead. Let me just repeat it. DEAD. It's not trivial. 9 out of 10 Americans be gone in a year. That is not trivial. More than that, when our nuclear power plant spent fuel rod pulls cook off. That is not trivial by any stretch of the imagination. That's why I said the first thing we should have done before we dealt with that was to find all these sleeper cell agents and get them the heck out of this country. And we've been going after a lot of thugs, but as far as I know, we've not been focused on those. Now, supposedly Trump says, yeah, I know who they are and where they're at. Well, if you know who they are and where they're at, why aren't you got rid of them? And yeah, what about all this great intel that we're told that Palantir has, how they can monitor everything, they know everything going on, then how come they missed that bio lab in Las Vegas that belonged to the same guy who owned the one that they found 3 years earlier in Reedley, California? Duh. Tells me that Palantir ain't what it's cracked up to be, that our FBI is asleep on the switch and they haven't done the job they need to do. And there's no way around it. Now, maybe for the first couple of years, it was under the Biden administration, and we're more interested in chasing PTA moms because PTA moms were considered the terrorists in this country. They didn't talk about foreign terrorists too much, if you recall. That's another thing we'll have to watch out for if we get a change in administration. PTA moms, watch out. So these are all things we've got to keep a mind of. So seriously, I'm going to read the chat room a little bit. I'm talking right now. I'll go into more detail and look what you guys are saying. But then you may not agree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just telling you what I think about it. Now, you got to bear in mind, I'm the guy who was reading military strategy books when I was in grade school. I belonged to the military book club, and I was ordering big, thick books. I've been, I started this course of study a long time ago. I've been in the military. I've worked for the military. When I was in high school, I was in ROTC. I joined the Army. When I got out of the Army, later I worked for the Army as a civil servant. Then I worked as an Army contractor. I worked as an Air Force contractor. I worked as a NASA contractor. I'm doing private space station work right now. So I've done a lot of different things, but I've always kept an interest in the oldest video of me anywhere that I can find is me opening the 1993 International Space Development Conference. And what am I talking about? The 1,000-mile war in Alaska. And I'm linking that to space stuff, and because that was the opening talk at a 1993 International Space Development Conference, and I'm talking strategy and things like that, logistics and things like that most people don't grasp. That was in 1993, 33 years ago. So this is not a new topic to me. I'm not just suddenly woke up, I think the world's got some politics and geopolitics is important. No, I've always known that. But anyway, and I've always watched it like a hawk. When I was a little kid, I was watching the news. Of course, the news back then was the only way you had to get a lot of stuff. And of course, it was all biased. It got worse later than it was then, but it's always been biased. The news has always been a program. Well, they do the programs, they're programming you. That's what TV programs do. But anyway, I had the book Non-Derecholic Conspiracy long time ago. When I was in ninth grade, I was reading Late Great Planet Earth. Maybe I read that before then. I used to listen to that kind of stuff. Garner Ted Armstrong's prophecies and all that kind of stuff when I was in grade school. So I've had a long interest in all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so the thing is that we're in a, there's that Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. We're there big time. Things are going to be rough for a long time. That's the way I see it. It might be that we bought time, but what we've also bought is that we're not going to do anything else in certain sectors after this, most likely. I hope I'm wrong, but I hope it don't have to happen. What I really hope is that the majority of people in Iran who want freedom find that freedom. And they will be Western aligned at that time, not China aligned. China is our biggest existential threat. So why was I not a fan of going into Iran to start with? Two reasons. One, the power grid. Two, I was worried about us taking down our munitions and not being able to deal with our greatest existential threat, China. Now, how we would deal with that's a whole nother thing. The biggest thing that we could do to stop China might be just to back away and do things like, block the strait, the Malacca Strait, the Strait of Malacca, which is, right there at the tip of Singapore. Well, I just heard that China has got big plans to attack Singapore in addition to Taiwan. Why? Because they want to be able to have free passage through there. So we've got one of our followers who actually lives in Singapore now. He used to live in Huntsville, who comes in our channel a lot. So this is something I've just found out about in the last couple of days, is that China has big plans to attack Singapore. And we do have bases there. We operate out of there. And that would be our ace in the hole to shut China down. So they want to take that away from us, and they might. But the biggest threat we got from China is something that no missile, no bomb in the world will defend you from. And that was typified by what we saw in Reedley, California, and Las Vegas, a bio threat. They had 20 different viruses in Reedley, California. I don't know what they had in Las Vegas, but in Reedley, California, they had genetically engineered mice. They had human DNA in them so that they could experiment with these bugs on these mice and use these mice as potential vectors to infect. Vector is something that will carry a disease. It could be mosquitoes. It could be rodents. They had 1,000 genetically engineered Crimea mice with human DNA. That is not trivial. And what frosts my cake in a bad way is that our great intel agencies totally missed that the same cotton picking individual that owned that facility owned the one in Las Vegas. That blows my mind. Maybe the entire FBI should just be fired for derelict of duty. No, they were too busy chasing PTA moms for the first 2 years after they found that bio lab. Or maybe they just didn't care. How did that happen? Why was that the case? We do know it's an absolute fact. Bam, one, biolab in Reedley, California. Two, biolab discovered 3 years later in Las Vegas belonged to the same individual. You cannot escape those facts. How is it this guy could own and operate things and they're not watching him like a hawk and didn't know this? How is that even possible? You would think some deadbeat cop could do enough detective work to figure that out. Street cop. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. That makes me angry. What happened in Mexico and how did Venezuela leave the stage so quickly? That's a big question. Well, I'll come back to the chat in a minute. That's a big question. But anyway, guys, we have issues. We have problems that we got to deal with. A lot of what Trump was doing apparently was trying to set this world stage because we were being set up with choke points like Hormuz and Bab el Mandeb Strait right here all around us with Panama Canal, stuff in Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua. Chinese they were trying to get bases set up in Argentina and or Chile, but the governments there changed and suddenly wasn't so pro-China, fortunately for us. Uh, but this bio thing, no amount of missiles, no amount of missile interceptors, no amount of tanks, no amount of M4 carbine rifles, M16A2, M16A1, artillery, Patriot missiles, Prism missiles, THAAD missiles, GBI missiles, satellites. That don't mean dinkum squat. You can have a we could have a 200 million man army because we could, because we don't have that many people. But it ain't going to protect you from a bug. It's not going to protect you from that kind of stuff, especially if they've genetically engineered it. They may have, we've already seen reports, and I've showed you this in the video, that they have over there developed a form of the coronavirus that's 100% fatal in mice. What about genetically engineered mice with human DNA? We know that they hacked the 23andMe data. They've got our genome. And there's been talk about genomic type weapons for years. And there's been suggestions from their own generals that they're working on that kind of stuff. I've showed you the stuff in a video already. Our biggest threat is China, hands down. Iran may have been a threat to us directly, but not as big as China unless they took down a power grid. Anybody takes down a power grid is a huge threat. And China had some capacity in that regard. How? Sleeper cells. And maybe y'all don't get how that could work. I do. It's, we've got a lot of work to do here in this country, getting our act together, and we've not done it. I've had so many people tell me, well, our biggest threats are on government. They're going to pull this or do that. The only thing our government has to do to wipe you out is do nothing at all. Because if we don't harden our ground, the sun is going to do it. If they want to wipe you out, all they got to do is just sit back and keep doing nothing like they're doing right now, and we're in big trouble. This is what I've been trying to communicate. This is why I pulled all the stops out and chaired 2 power grid defense conferences before I ever started this YouTube channel. It's because I came to that realization. I came to the realization that the report saying 9 out of 10 people would be lost in a year was optimistic because it did not account for what could happen at the nuclear power plants. And I never was worried about the reactors because I know we can scram them with boron. It would destroy the reactor, but it will stop the reaction. The problem is the spent fuel rod pools when they evaporate the water off. And they're not in a containment building like the reactor. And there's a lot more radioactive material there than inside the reactor. You think Chernobyl was something? Chernobyl was a child's picnic. It was nothing compared to what we could face from these spent fuel rod pools. I've been trying to tell people about that. Chuck Mantos was the only other person that was out running around saying that. And he might have been doing it before I started it. But I did not know about him doing that even when I ran the second Power Grid Defense Conference. I had a lot of people come to my conference that weren't aware of that were in the Power Grid Defense community. I woke a lot of them up to the threat that these nuclear power plants pose to us. And I've covered that on this channel years ago. Now, I haven't done a video on it recently, so maybe some of you aren't aware of it. You got to go back and look at some of my old videos. I've covered this ad nauseum in the past. So maybe I need to do more of that in the future. I think what I'm going to do, though, is start another YouTube channel and focus on grid down stuff on that channel. Because when you come to this channel, I got 1,700 videos, over 1,700 videos. It's hard to find specific content sometimes like that. So I do post, and I have posted in a lot of my videos, links in the show notes or in the pin notes in the comment section. If you scroll all the way down, I've reduced a lot of that recently, but for a long time I was posting links to videos. It's like, why grid down is worse than a full-scale nuclear war. A lot of people are all afraid of the nukes hitting cities. That's nothing compared to what these spent fuel rod pools would dish out. You get a nuke hitting a city, yeah, that city's gone, it's fried. People are going to die anyway if the grid goes down because they don't have anything to eat. It'll just be a slower, more painful death. And they're going to have a lot of disease. They'll be eating each other. But, yeah, they're lost either way you shake it. Now, what's going to happen though is if when a nuke hits, most of the radiation's gone after 2 weeks, and it's going to come wherever that fallout pattern drops. You get a nuclear power plant, it's going to be cooking off for years and years and years, and everywhere the wind blows, that stuff's going. And a lot of people just don't get that. They don't get the gravity of it. So, a lot of things to think about, my friends. We got to get our power grid hardened. Now, I do live in a place, I did live downwind 26 miles in Tawny, Alabama from Browns Ferry Nuclear Power Plant. And that worried the bejesus out of me. Yeah, there's a big nuclear power plant in southwest Arizona, but that's a whole lot farther away from me than Browns Ferry was. Most of the heavier elements will drop out closer to the power plant. You'll still get cesium products that will go worldwide, just like from Chernobyl, but at lower concentrations. We don't need that to happen. In fact, the dumb thing is a lot of countries don't realize if they take down our power grid, they're going to suffer from it in their country too. This stuff is nasty. So it's just things to think about, my friends. It's things to think about. And it's stuff I've been trying to bring to you for years on this channel and wake people up to. And I still get people coming on here, well, the power grid's okay because of X, Y, Z. And I guarantee you, I am deep as a tick on a hound dog in two separate national level power grid defense committees. And my friends, our power grid is not in good shape. There are organizations that will tell you that and tell you, well, this will take care of everything, but it really won't. I know the engineers and the scientists who know better. And I am an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer. That's what my degree's in. And I've been working for 20 years in avionics system safety. I know about how things break, how they go bad. And I designed my own solar system here, by the way. So I know a little bit about power. A lot more than a lot of other YouTubers that are on here that people watch 1,000 times more than they watch me. So in any event, but so be it. That's because I put too much truth out, I suppose, and the platform has got a heavy boot on me. Mainly probably because I don't talk too friendly about China. Anybody that does that gets problems. So back to Iran. So Trump could be bluffing with his talk of, well, we don't have to open the Strait of Hormuz. He could be bluffing because he's trying to get Europe involved in it. He could be bluffing because he don't want Iran to know what he's really going to do. But he could be serious because the political fallout for going deeper into Iran is going to make it harder to maintain the GOP. And if the GOP loses the House and Senate, then we will lose the presidency completely, absolutely. And you'll see the Speaker of the House is President of the United States. And that Speaker of the House will be a Democrat. In case you don't, I've had somebody say, no, the Speaker of the House is Republican. I'm talking about after the midterm elections, my friends. So I've had people that just aren't really thinking ahead to where I'm thinking. I've run the halls of Congress. I know a little bit about it, okay? Several times. Uh, what I don't know jack diddle about sports. What's on TV, shows, I consider that trivial information. I focus on things that can change our lives, things that matter, things that count. And because of the threats of bio and nuclear and all that stuff, I'm planning to build a home that I can hermetically seal, my universal habitat. If you have not watched my old universal habitat videos, you ought to go watch them. I'm hoping if my job holds out, we got a big meeting, all hands meeting tomorrow, and NASA's pulled some changes. The company I'm working for has raised over $4 billion private investment money. We've got our space station booked 150% with payloads. But NASA suddenly thought, well, there's no market for commercial space. We've absolutely shown there is with the Starlab project. However, NASA's now, we do get about 20 to 30% of our funding through NASA. And our company they're talking about just pulling out and not having anything to do with NASA. Because what NASA's wanting us to do is chuck everything we've been investing in with this big space station we've been designing. We designed all the life support systems and everything that goes with it. They're saying, oh, we want to create a core module and you just hook up that module and we'll give you all these systems, but it's going to be a smaller module. And, oh, yeah, we're only going to have one contractor and blah, 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 blah. So it would be a huge change. We wouldn't be able to satisfy our customers. We wouldn't be living up to what we sold to our investors. And so I don't know how the company can even go along with it. I think we're probably going to have to pull out of the NASA deal because NASA is just a small piece of the funding. But they may decide not to. I don't know what the company is going to decide in the end, what their decision will be. But 20 to 30% reduction in money means a lot of us are going to get our noses cut. My group laid off 2 people last year, and I don't know who gets to survive and who don't when they start cutting noses. You just don't know. So I'm out here tomorrow morning. I don't have a job. I could hear that tomorrow morning, just within a few hours. Now we got an all hands meeting in a few hours. Well, thank you. Thank you again for the. Now you're a serial super chatter. I appreciate that, Carrie. I really do. Would pin filtered adapters (PFAs) work on all home protection for a mild EMP? Um, if here's the thing, if the EMP main focus is the center of the country, if the attack is by satellite or ICBM over the middle part of the United States, over Kansas or over Oklahoma, the entire country will be affected. You will have power grid down everywhere. However, some smaller electronics can survive. People that are off grid, because the biggest, at a distance, the main damage, an EMP has 3 radiation forms. E1 is the short range stuff that fries smaller electronics. That's a high frequency waveform. It's instantaneous. Then there's E2. E2 is like lightning. It's like ginormous lightning, okay? But it's more analogous to lightning, just ginormous. But it's going to be kind of localized. The E1 won't propagate as far as the E3. The E3 is long wave radiation. It's long wavelength, and it will resonate with pipelines, rail lines, and power lines, long conductors, and that could fire power grid nationwide. Now, but if the E3 should be less, it might not fry a home solar system here. The E1 might be weak enough that even my charge controllers and stuff operating in my little building, I got a metal building, battery building, that said that metal building might be a sufficient Faraday cage to protect my electronics here if it's over the center of the United States. Now, if they come in with a balloon attack, like I envisioned in a video I did on that, showing how we could have an EMP sneak attack with balloons, and if they impede the West Coast, we would feel more of it here. But that will be a lower level impact. It could still go over 400 miles in diameter, or like 200 miles. No, it's 400 miles radius. You could still get a lot of coverage, but we might have less here. They would aim for Phoenix, maybe, for an EMP, but mainly if they were doing the West Coast, they would go for our military bases on the West Coast, probably in Los Angeles, cities, the really big cities. We might not get the full effect here. The people that's on the power grid would probably feel it. The stores will be out of business. But us homesteaders will probably still have power. Good chance that those, if you're in Kansas, Oklahoma, and some of my subscribers are there, a little harder to say. The E3 may not get you still because it is long radiation. Depends, your leads on your power system might be okay. One way to protect against that is to put chokes around it's basically ferrite beads around your power leads. You can get those from my friend. I've interviewed him. He came to one of my conferences. What's his name? Arthur Bradley. If you go to Arthur Bradley's got a YouTube channel. I've interviewed him twice on this channel. He came and spoke at my second Power Grid Defense Conference. He is a NASA PhD level electrical engineer, works for NASA Langley Research Center up in Virginia. He may have retired by now. But you can buy those ferret beads from him. You can get them from other places too. You can just look online for them. That's a good thing to protect your leads. A lot of the devices that they're selling and promoting is going to telling you, yeah, I remember seeing commercials. Oh yeah, you put this thing in your house, and a little chintzy thing with tiny little wires, and they told you it would save your home from up to 42 EMPs. What? Guys, so many people will subscribe to that. Nobody in the power grid defense community uses that stuff, even though they say they do. No, I'm in 2 power grid defense communities. I know better. None of us use that crap at all. You'd be better off just getting you a Siemens lightning surge protector. Siemens has a good quality device. It may not switch as fast as you'd hope, but guys, I don't know. They said, oh yeah, we meet all these specs. And then they got a test report they show you. Now, if you don't understand engineering, you might think, oh, this is good. They got the test report. They say they meet all these specs. I took on a video their test report and the spec, and I went and itemized it and showed you where they fell short, grossly short. Yes, I've covered that in the video. So if you're putting your faith and confidence in some of those chintzy little devices, it might help if you got a very weak thing coming at you. Well, the biggest things you might have to worry about in the EMP is your house burning down. But I wouldn't count my life on. Here's the other thing they don't tell you. The biggest surge, they go, well, we're going to shut everything down to the, and I didn't even mention that in that video. I just showed they didn't meet their spec that they claimed to met. And I itemized it. They can come after me and try to charge me and sue me for it. Dude, you can't sue me when I'm reading your test report and comparing it to the spec. I'm an engineer. I know how to do these things. I am an electrical engineer, for Pete's sake. I know how to read test specs. What do you think I've been doing my whole career? Anyway, all that said, yeah, they tried to sue a friend of mine. Big time. They went after, they're vindictive. So to them, I say, they better put on their big boy pants if you're going to try to come after me. I'll make them look bad, really big in a really public way. Their business will be gone if they want to tangle with me. I will knock them out. So they better put on their big boy pants and figure they're going to be in the unemployment line if you want to come mess with me. So I'm sure probably some of them watch my channel. So just leave me the heck alone. Because I ain't going out aggressively trying to put you out of business, although I probably should. I'm just warning people when they ask about some of this stuff. And I got a lot of questions about it. So there you go. In any event, there's if the field's weak, there's a lot of stuff that might protect you, including your regular surge. But the problem with the EMP, the E1 signal is lightning fast. It's nanoseconds. And a strong EMP will jump a power, even if you throw a switch like your main breaker, it'll jump between the contact points. You have to totally disconnect things to keep that from jumping. I don't know if you've ever seen them open the breakers at these big transformer plants when they throw the breakers open. There's an arc of lightning that follows as they're opening that breaker. It goes for yards into the sky, yards and yards. It just the lightning, the current. It does a dielectric breakdown of the air. So you think it won't jump a little gap in a switch box? Yeah, it will. Oh, I threw my main breaker off. Well, I'm safe. No, you're not. You got to totally disconnect and remove cables to make that happen. So guys, I'm just warning my followers. Don't put too much faith in that stuff. I don't waste my money on it. If I had one, I'd use it for a paperweight, but I sure wouldn't want to pay. Look, I could have made a ton of money promoting that stuff. There's channels, prepping channels that do that. They promote that stuff because they were selling for $400 and they were getting $200 commissions for everyone they sold. And I've been not making any money on this channel. I could make a ton of money selling that crap. And a lot of people get on to me about the stuff I promote. You know what? If I wanted to, I could make a ton of money. All I'd have to do is say, "Oh, guys, buy this. This is what you need. This is what you need." You never heard me say that because I don't believe in it. I am not going to bring something to you guys that I don't believe in. And that I don't believe in. That's why I don't sell. Yeah, $200 commission per pop, and they sell like hotcakes. And I could definitely sell, having covered as much power grid defense stuff as I've covered. I could have made a fortune, and some YouTubers have, just promoting that. And there are YouTubers I won't have anything to do with because of that too. And you might know who I'm talking about. Big channels, big names. So I got to really question where they're coming from. And some of them, well, they're not engineers, they're dumber than a bag of doorknobs, but they'll come to you like they're authoritarian and know what they talk about, but they don't know beans. But I guess they do. They know something. They know how to get a ton of people watching them talking smack. So yeah, if I talk more smack, I might get more viewers. Well, this is what's going to happen. Oh, and I've heard of what bigger YouTuber with a video that got a lot more views than I ever get in those topics. Well, if the sonochrome mass ejection hits at night, you ain't got to worry about it. It ain't going to affect your grid. Go back and look at what happened to Quebec hydro event. It's like between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning that the Quebec grid fell because of that is nighttime, in case people don't know. Solar coronal mass ejection took down power grid in Quebec. And guys, it happened because the Earth has a magnetosphere. You get a strong enough EMP hitting, the whole magnetosphere is going to ring. These particles will go down the field lines all over the world. Like a Carrington event. Oh yeah, and the Carrington event lasted for days. So yeah, you hear all this stuff. You hear all this smack. I'm trying to bring you the skinny truth on this stuff. I'm trying to, if I was to tell you junk like, oh, the Earth's crust slips 90 degrees every 12,000 years. The guy's claiming that gets so many views. He's got followers and they will fight you. Oh, yeah, he's an expert. That crap is absolutely wrong. It ain't never happened, and it ain't going to happen. And I've talked to that ad nauseum too. Absolutely. I have tons of geological evidence that absolutely proves that ain't ever happened. Now, the Earth does move some. You don't have the crust slipping 90 degrees. You don't have it going over the equatorial bulge. When the Earth moves, the whole thing moves. When the axis shifts, it's not a crustal slip like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of garbage out there on YouTube, and more people believe that stuff than they do somebody bringing them the darn truth. So, too much truth. How you doing, Whoosh? Yeah, YT is the worst. Yeah, there's a ton of crap on here. I mean, just crap all over the place. And that's what people want to watch. Absolutely. That's what they prefer to watch is dumb crap. Dumb, stupid crap. People don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, I'm trying to bring you some things to help you understand what we're dealing with, what the threats are. There are real threats. They are existent. People say, hey, you're fear-mongering. No, I'm trying to get you guys where you be prepared. And the best prep I'm hoping to build in the not too distant future here, a home you can live in, make a living out of, and grow all your food in, and hermetically sealed. It'd be like a little miniature space station right out here. Greetings from Fort Bragg, Spring Lake. Hey, Empty Mess Kit. Salute to you. I lived in Spring Lake once upon a time. My first occasion, I lived off Ray Road. I think it was 720 Ray Road. I don't remember. That may not have been my address. And then I moved to what was called Flight Side Trailer Park, which is right across the entrance, or was. It ain't there now, I don't think. It was right across the entrance from Pope Air Force Base on Manchester Road. You probably know exactly where I'm talking about. I mean, I was closer to the center of the field than either end of the airfield. And man, we heard those, they'd be testing them jet engines all night long and had them on test stands. They'd be running them at all hours. It took a little getting used to. But I was on the corner lot of the trailer park right next to, there was a little creek there. And I had friends in New Bern. I went and got a truckload of Spanish moss and flung it up all in my trees I had around my trailer. It was kind of nice where I was at because that. Yes, indeed. Pyramid 7, how are you doing? Good to see you in the house. Well, original mod here. My original mod is in the house. And yes, I'm trying not to name names, but some people promote this crap ad nauseum that will do you no good. They sell it to you, pay premium for it, and they're selling you garbage. So I don't even listen to those channels anymore. I've had people say, "Oh, if you're getting involved, this guy, he's got a big channel. He brings people on, and your channel will grow." No, I got standards. I have to look at myself in the mirror every once in a blue moon. So, yeah. There's some things I can't bring myself to, and I'm not going to defraud you with that kind of junk. Yeah, I can make a killing doing it. Absolutely can make a lot of money. It's not the only thing I could have made a lot of money doing. I had a certain Iranian professor who found out what I was doing with hybrid rockets way back in the 90s, and he got all excited. Oh, yeah, we can make millions of dollars. And it's like, well, back out, exit, stage left immediately. Never talked to him again. I was just trying to get in with some student groups at the university, and electrical engineering thought that they might get involved in the educational aspects of our program. Well, because our rocket program had a lot of avionics in it that we developed ourselves. It's before you had all this stuff in cell phones you got today. Oh my gosh. Boy, I thought, get out. Leave fast. Now, there's plenty of ways I could have made money, but I won't do it. There's certain things I will not do. Why? Because I love my country and I love my followers here. I love human beings, life, and I especially love freedom. And that includes survival. So I don't bring you that stuff. And a lot of other YouTube channels that talk prep and all they want to talk about is Faraday cages. Yeah, you can build a Faraday cage, get a garbage can, put something non-conductive on the bottom, line it with cardboard, and put your electronics in it, and then tape it up with some of that metallic tape, and you got a Faraday cage. Now, put it in the metal building on top of that, on top of some, non-conductive surface like a concrete block, and you kind of got a couple Faraday cages running for you, especially what's inside the garbage can. But what I tell you guys, all the electronics is going to die and wear out. I spent a lot of time going to flea markets showing you guys manual tools, stuff that will really last, stuff that will not be taken out by an EMP. I'm an electrical engineer, I'm a technology guy, but what I tell you, use manual tools. What other technology guy, aerospace engineer, electrical engineer, he's worked a career in space stuff, computers, electronics, internet, tells you that? Oh, yeah, because they can do tons of videos on Faraday cages and people will watch them ad nauseum, and I've covered the topic. But yeah, maybe I'll do a video on it, but I'm going to tell you the most important thing you can do is have manual tools. And I even showed you, how to judge the manual tools, which ones would last, which ones wouldn't, what was durable, what wasn't, what to look out for. Why? I knew because I used them. I was gardening heavily. About to be doing some more heavy gardening. Been fighting fame for a long time. There you go. So, guys, I'm trying to bring you guys the skinny that a lot of people just don't bring you. Now, I did do a survival EMP video that I actually taught tactics in, like foxholes, how to design a foxhole, where to put a foxhole. I even went as far as to tell you how to take out snipers. I've never heard that on another YouTube channel. The things you might really have to worry about in a grid down situation. Snipers will be a big threat. I talked it. I showed it how it could be done. I don't know who else has ever done it. Maybe somebody does. Maybe there's several videos out there, but I'm not seeing them. But I've covered a lot of topics now. I guess you got to really go through a lot of stuff to find it. Hey, Keith in Arizona. Ho, ho, ho. So, yeah, I'm going to go through the chat room a little bit. Oh, it's getting late. I got to get up early. But what I wanted to do is just let you guys know the bottom line is that Trump is talking about not needing to close the Strait of Hormuz. He's talking about maybe not even needing to go in after the nuclear materials, that maybe they would just bomb the snot out of the place where it would take the Iranians a lot longer to dig it out. It would still be there. But, bombing the entrances, yeah, you'd still dig them out. But he seems to be skating backwards, trying to get an exit plan, an off ramp to get out of that situation there. And he's even saying, hey, we might be gone out of there in a week or two, maybe 3. There's also talk of us being there 2 months. There's still talk about going in and taking Karg Island, the other islands in the Strait of Hormuz. There's still talk about bombing their power grid. And if they do bomb their power grid, like I said, that would make it a lot easier to go in and take out their uranium and other stuff. But it also means that the sleeper cells might take out our power grid, and that would be catastrophic here at home. So if you hadn't caught that part of this video, watch it on the rewind, or go back and watch some of my other videos where I cover this kind of stuff ad nauseum. And we just discovered there's like 1,000 sleeper cell. Yeah, it's been said now that we got it from a Canadian source that there are 1,000 Iranian sleeper cell agents in Canada, just waiting for the word to cross the border. The Canadian border is easy to cross. It's huge. It's wilderness. You can come across it so many ways. So I hope that don't happen. Guys, this is why I say sometimes you really just got to pray. I always say prep and pray. And, if the grid goes down, I'm still have electricity. That don't take out Starlink satellites. I could still have internet even, because I'm on Starlink. I would probably still be sitting here talking to my friends in Australia. My American buddies may not be able to hear me anymore. Well, I get some people coming in from Australia, maybe my buddies up in Alaska, my friends over in Europe. I get a few people coming in here from Europe. Y'all could probably still watch me. And what few of us are off-gridders out here that happen to have a Starlink, my friends out here in Arizona, you might watch me too. But guys, yeah, well, of course, that means the servers that YouTube operates on would still have to be operational. Probably not. Probably not. I don't know. They might have some redundancy and have some of these things in other countries. I'm sure they do. But, it's not guaranteed that we'd have any internet anywhere at that point. But, I'm setting up a huge garden to grow my own food here. I am trying to get self-reliant as much as is possible, as fast as is possible. That's what I'm working on. And I've got chickens. We'll do the egg count here at the end. But we may be leaving Iran. We may possibly be leaving Iran in the near-term future. Or then again, it could be just Trump putting that out there to put them off base for a major attack. But we don't have the troops over there to do that. But then again, airborne troops they can be there in like 18 hours. You could send the entire 82nd Airborne. You could send the 101st Airborne, and a lot of other Ranger units could be sent, other Special Forces units, like the Green Berets. You could send the Navy SEAL teams. A lot of these special operation forces could be sent in less than 24 hours. And who knows, they may not even, they may fly straight from the United States and drop out of the planes over there. They may never touch ground in the Gulf Coast states areas, like the current forces that are there, the current 82nd troops are on the ground, but they can be in the air real fast. So, they might just fly straight over and jump right out of the plane into combat from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Her friends there near Fort Bragg right now, Mr. Meskit. Uh, yeah, that could happen. I know when during the original Iranian hostage crisis, all my gear was packed up on the tarmac at Pope Air Force Base, ready to go. At that time, I lived off Ray Road. I didn't live flight side trailer park. I was out on Ray Road. I think it was 720. I'd have to go back and look at it, dress up, and see if it's on there. Just the numbers popped in my head right now. It may not be right. But anyway, that's just what number popped in my head. I think that was my address. So, my friends, there are a lot of things to take into account. Who knows? Maybe the biggest hope we've got is that the protesters will take over Iran. But they've got slim chance of that if they're not armed. I would hope that before we pull out, that we drop a lot of small arms, a lot of rifles and ammunition to pickup points that we know they're in control of, where there's no besieged forces at. They could do that because Israel has apps, and these guys got it on their cell phones where they were able to call in airstrikes on GRC, RGC besieged forces. And so before they would actually act, they would verify who was sending in that request and verify the target. So in case the phone and app fell in the wrong hands, they didn't want to be attacking the protesters. We could provide maybe air cover support for them to rise up. But calling the airstrikes and air cover support probably ain't good enough without giving them small arms. And that's just the bottom line. Now, there may be some defections over there. They're saying a lot of troops are going home. I don't know. Take out the grid, a lot of them will go home. So we don't know how it's all going to play out just yet. It could play out very fast. We may be pulling out. We may be out of there in a week, according to Trump. Maybe. Or it could last 3 months. So there's a lot of things at play here. There's a lot of ways this could go. I said we need to do some serious praying. We need to do some serious praying. It might be that if they really take out the nuclear stuff, or if they can really bomb it to the point, some people say, well, use nukes over there. I mean, you might with nukes be able to cave in, cause those caverns to cave in where that stuff is stored. Now, you're not going to, they won't penetrate deep enough to actually blow them up, but you might cause the facilities to cave in from pressure from above. But, 1,600 feet of granite, that would be tough to do without hitting it several times with nukes. And then the whole world would go back guano crazy if we did that. So I don't know, guys. There's just a lot at stake here. I would say that if we do take out their stuff that they got now, it'd be 20 years before Iran would be back at the same level. Unless they get stuff from North Korea. And North Korea is they have doubled down on making nuclear stuff. You remember Madeleine Albright when she went to North Korea and signed that treaty and came back and said that North Korea will never have nukes? She was the Secretary of State under Clinton. Anybody remember that? And do you know why Clinton kept the space station program going? Because he saw an opportunity to cut a deal with Russia. He would have killed the space station. What was Space Station Freedom at the time? They renamed it the International Space Station. He brought the Russians in on something what I'd call a drug deal. Supposedly, to get on board with our space station, the Russian economy was dead. The engineers there were hunting something to do. And right then, the money was with Iran building those nuclear power plants. So we paid the Russians to build the modules they put on the ISS. A lot of people don't know that. We paid them to do that. And we also paid them to transport things to the ISS for years. And we did that under a drug deal that, okay, if we do this, Russia, we bring you on, we pay you to do this, we give your engineers employment. We're doing this on the provision that you're not going to build nuclear power plants in Iran. Somebody forgot the terms of that drug deal because Russia went down there and built those nuclear power plants anyway. And if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't be talking about any of this stuff today. Duh. So, yeah, Clinton failed majorly, and two of his solutions to keep nukes from spreading to Iran and chiefly, mainly to North Korea. They told us they had it all taken care of. They nearly shut down our ballistic missile interceptor programs. Well, we're not going to need ballistic missile interceptors. They said that North Korea was, even if they went for nukes, would be 15 years away, about 5 years before they detonated a nuke. So I don't know, 5 or 10 years. So their intel was wrong. Their what they promised us was wrong. But people forget that. They forget that. They all think Clinton was great and wonderful. Slick Willie, Monica Lewinsky. Yeah, it was all great and wonderful to them. So, which always reminds me, I've got to do this now. So I brought the topic up. In case people forget, I did not have sex with that woman. It was my cigar. My cigar did it. My cigar had all the fun, but I smoked that cigar. Boy, that was one good cigar. All right, forgive me. Got to have a little fun every now and then, right? Um, so there you are. That's the funny thing about it. That's the funny thing, guys. Um, that's not so funny. And you got to remember, Obama sent pallet loads of money, literally on a plane, to Iran. Joe Biden released billions of dollars that has been held in banks to Iran. I'm glad I got some laughs. Who says we don't have fun in here? Some people say, "Oh, you do is fearmonger." I get that so many times. And I'm just telling you guys what you got to be aware of to prepare. That is what it really is. Double dipped. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. So there you have it, my friends. We might be out of Iran, but if the regime there survives in any fashion, we will see them again. Unless Israel can keep them mowed down. And how long will they do that? Netanyahu is in a lot of political trouble. Israel may not be up for doing in the future what they're doing now, at least for a while. And Netanyahu is not a great and wonderful guy, in my humble opinion. Far from it. Um, so, you know, it might be a resurgent Iran, might be what we're reading about in the book of Revelation. Wet cigar. Yeah. Loudy, wet cigar. So, yeah, it used to really bug me. I used to have shorter hair, guys, no beard, not much of one. And I'd speak at space conferences. I don't know how many times people go, "You sound just like Bill Clinton." I go, ah. I hated hearing that. That was back when he was president. I used to speak at a lot of space conferences. So I decided finally just to embrace it and have some fun with it, with my little cigar thing there. I've even had some people tell me I should do an act and go on stage and mimic Bill Clinton. Loud. I never liked him. Never liked the man. Not at all. But in any event, I didn't like the Bushes either. Neither one of them. You got to remember Mr. NWO, H.W. Bush. And, probably the biggest military mistake the United States has ever made was going into Iraq. Iraq wasn't really doing anything as big and threatening as they made it sound like. And the worst thing we did when we took Iraq out, we took out our buffer to Iran. was Iraq was the stop that kept Iran from establishing the Shia Crescent that gave them access to set up all the proxy networks. He set up. A lot of people knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. I couldn't believe that we went in and took them out completely. The reason we didn't do it in the first Gulf War was that we had the realization, well, Iraq needs to be there as a buffer against Iran. But then we went in the second Gulf War and took them out. And it was all because Cheney and crowd, all those people talking about the PNAC, the Project for the New American Century, they called it, PNAC. That's what it was all about. And they wanted their Pearl Harbor, and they got it on a certain day in September, on the 11th. I got to be careful what I say here. Very careful. But, my friends, yeah, and so a lot of people say, our own government's our worst enemy. Yeah, but that don't mean that Iran wouldn't be an enemy. It don't mean that China wouldn't wipe us out completely. So no, I do think China is our worst enemy. But our government is something to be concerned about. It's definitely something to be concerned about. I do not like big government. The government governs best as government governs least. Ronald Reagan used to say it a lot, and I think he might have got that from Jefferson. Ah, la, la, la. He might have been using the Jefferson. Darth Vader. Oh. Darth Vader. Luke, I am your father. And I think that's supposedly a Mandela moment, according to some people. Yikes. I think I've had another Mandela moment. Apparently now the lunar month is not 28 days, it's 29 and a half. It's like, where did that come from? What happened? Did I just suddenly wake up in a new universe? It's crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Hey, Eddie, how you doing? Good to see you in the house. Good to see you here. Carrie's been holding down the fort here for you. So, I made Pyramid 7 laugh. Good. My cigar thing. Guys, I don't want war, but you got to defend yourselves. And if you know you're going to fight, don't fight them on their terms. Seriously. That's what you got to know about war. What I would like to see is a world where, so Einstein thought, well, we need a global government so we don't have nations, and the whole problem with war is nations. A global government would be worse. You'd have no freedom. You might not even be permitted to exist. Because that's the dream of the House of Klaus. Global government. Guys, I do not want to go down that road. You want to be a human being, especially with the technology they're coming up with. Noel, hooray, Noel, hooray, whatever you say his last name. I played his videos, what they want to do. It is frightening. I got that on one of my videos. So think about it. We got Arnold Schmidt in the house. Where you been, Arnold? We've been missing you the last few videos. I was beginning to wonder if you were okay. I was about to try to call you. I'm glad to see you in the house. Are you all right? We haven't seen you in a while, Arnold. Wow. Anyway, guys, so lots at stake here. Lots at stake. And we need to do some serious praying, my friends. I mean, serious praying. Oh, my little light here just died. Oh, wait a minute. It's still alive. Maybe that's just a signal it's about to die. Anyway, this is my little light here. I'll put it right at the camera to wash everything out. So, what will be, will be. It's time for humans to act humane. You got to defend yourself. Jesus Christ himself told his disciples to get a sword. You know, if food ain't going to jump in your mouth, you got to go out and grow it, or at least eat it. You know what I mean? There are certain things that you've got to take care of. You're expected to. The Bible says the worker is the salt of the earth. Yeah, there are certain things that are probably going to come, but how it comes depends on how we approach it. That's why you've got to be proactive in prepping and taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. You can't just stick your head in the sand. That's why you got to pray too. And the Bible tells you to pray. Does it not, Arnold Schmidt? Does the Bible not tell us to pray? And I'm telling you the same thing. Why? Because prayer is powerful. The exact way all this plays out for you is dependent on you. There may be prophecies, light turned on again. It's going on the fritz. There are certain things that are going to happen on a global level. But you have free will to a large degree. If you didn't have free will, God would be a tyrant, and God is not a tyrant. The greater creator is no tyrant. And if he was, he wouldn't be telling you to pray. It would have no effect. You know, you have free will. That means every single aspect of every outcome is not predetermined. And because all time exists, that means we live in a multiverse. We live in a very multidimensional multiverse, and outcomes vary a little bit according to the different timelines. It might be that it's all in one big river and heading for the waterfall, but there's different timelines in this river of time, okay? It's not just one timeline. If it was, there would be not any point in anything. There would be no point in anything at all if it was all just one timeline. Necessity is going to be the mother of invention. It always is, always has been. Legendary bunny man Bradford. Hey, are you over in Britain? Are you in the UK by any chance? All righty, so there's a lot of stuff to be aware of, but yeah, I always say prep and pray. I've never said panic, because panicking is crazy. You got your best weapon. You may have all kinds of things. I got some things behind me. I don't know if you can tell what that stuff is, but I got some stuff here. I can't show it on here without making certain declarations on YouTube. But I don't know what that light's doing. It's getting dimmer. Your most powerful, your most formidable weapon is right there. And when you panic, you lose it. So you got to keep in mind that this is the most powerful thing you've got right between your ears, between your eyes. That is what sets you aside from animals. There are a lot of two-legged animals in this world today too, by the way. A lot of them have been hypnotized by TV programming. They are definitely programmed. So these are things to bear in mind, and we see a lot of them in our public. I see them posting stuff on Facebook. I see them challenging things I post. And those of you that are Facebook friends of mine know what I'm talking about. Y'all seen some of the nonsense they put on there. In any event, these are all things we've got to be aware of. We have enemies, foreign and domestic. Don't doubt that for 1 minute. They're on both sides of the equation. So, all right, what have we done tonight? Well, I've outlined that we might be leaving. Yeah, your noodle. Your noodle is precious. It is precious. It's the brain-machine interface between your soul and the physical world. Your soul can exist independently of your body, but it is the interface unit. And through our conscious mind, that's how we operate. But there is more to you than this meat suit. Trust me, there is more. I know that. I have seen the evidence. There is more to you than the meat suit. A lot of people ask the big question, why are we here? That's not the big question. The big question is, why are we as spiritual beings living in a physical world? I've talked about that. And I've talked about that with my universe and the solo cup analogy. We kind of danced around that a little bit tonight. I may do that in the future cover. That's a big topic. I've actually started some PowerPoint charts to talk about that. I've never finished them in great detail, but I've talked about that a few times on my channel, on Rex's channel, on Jeffrey Daugherty's channel. Boy, he was a character. Who was he a character? But anyway, that's something I've talked about. Um, it ties you to your worms. Yes, 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 indeed, indeed. Hey, I've been posting a few fun things on Facebook about my worms lately. Yeah, good grief. They're getting testy back there, fighting each other. They're about to tear my house down. They are tearing everything up. I'm gonna have to put them outside soon. I'm beginning to think they're worse than rats. Let's see. Somebody sent me something. I got to pull it up here. Right now, did I download it? No, I didn't download it to my phone. It's in the text message from one of my friends. I got a friend who's drawing AI stuff with me and worms. It's kind of funny. Um, ding, 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 ding. I'm gonna have to use some of this stuff. I have actually posted some of it on Facebook, but where is it at? Give me a second, guys. If I can show it, yeah, you'll get a kick out of it. I don't know if y'all can see this. This is me and my worm army. Hey, don't mess with me and my worm army, my red worm army. Here's another image of that ilk. Supposed to be me. And then another one that, oh, there's several. I got a bunch of them. Oh, can you guys hear these cats? I've got a noise filter. I don't know if the noise filter is filtering that out. Somebody put a cat image up. Can y'all hear the cats? They're going after each other right now. Yeah, he had the idea to draw me as my worm army. The worms go marching one by one. Hurrah, hurrah. There you go. When Johnny comes marching home again. Hurrah, hurrah. Let's see. He sent me a bunch of that stuff. That's fun stuff. That's fun stuff. But anyway, oh yeah. And then there's kind of division of the worms. Worm wars. I ain't gonna focus for some reason. Come on, focus. Go back and forth a little bit so I can get it to focus. There we are. Hey, we got a super chat. Thank you, baby girl. I appreciate that very much. All right. I'm going to put on my emails if I'm getting anything from my website here. I like to give credit where credit's due, and no, I didn't see anything there. So I picked this thing up to start with. All right, guys. So what we've done, we've talked about the threat to our power grid, how that could be actuated by, I haven't gone into detail about it, but if you knew what happened to the Metcalf station in San Jose, people went in and did a dry run exercise on attacking that station. They could have taken it out had they so chosen with what they were doing. They were using AKs. Now, you can take out power grid stations if you know what to aim at with AKs. You can take them out with drones. You can take them out with a side grinder and an impact drill. You know what you're doing. Unfortunately, I do know how to do it. And so do thousands of other people. So that's a risk, a huge risk. And the IEEE put out a report in 2014 detailing how if there were 9 critical substations in the United States, if taken out, would take down an entire grid. And this word got to the head of the IRGC. When he was told that, his response was flippant. He said, I've already got 20 targeted. Fortunately, that's not happened yet. Let's hope it don't come to pass. But we just got word of thousands of Iranian sleeper cell agents in Canada. And who knows what's already here in the United States. Let's hope that they don't activate for some reason. And the power of prayer may be the only thing to stop them. That and quantum immortality, which fits in the multiverse concept, which I think I've experienced that. Something for another podcast. Maybe not even on this channel. Yet, why is it always the innocent who have to suffer for the decisions made by our leaders? Debt equals slavery, yet we are taught that slavery was abolished. Yeah, slavery is not abolished. You know, what's really blowing my mind? Human trafficking is slavery of the worst sort. They're trafficking women and children into sexual servitude. It's the worst form of slavery. And who does that? The drug gangs, the drug cartels. They also bring in the stuff that kills over 70,000 Americans a year, wasn't it? That's apparently been, for the most part, shut down thanks to closing our borders. But who is it in this country who defends these people, tries to keep them getting deported? Well, they may be returning to political power when they're sworn into office, when the next Congress is sworn into office in January. We're talking wide open borders. We're talking all kinds of nonsense. Oh, Trump will stop him. Not if he's impeached and acquitted. If the House and Senate go Democrat, it's over. It's over. This country may be done as we know it. Trafficked, yes. Pray for all the trafficked children. Yes, pray for them. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a lot of great people in this country. How do I know it? Because you're here. We have a lot of great people. I know great people around here, everywhere I've ever been. But there's a lot of people that don't get it. And some of them think they're great people. They think they're on the side of right because they've been hypnotized by the constant, incessant programming that comes through the television, through the news, through the popular media, through social media. The messages are put out constantly. And a lot of us are falling for it too. Oh, I'm not saying that Trump is great and wonderful. No, he's not. He's a person. That's why I always tell you, put no faith in a man. Don't put no faith in any one man, any human being. You don't do that. You can't do that. But the movement of making America great, America first, that is a vital concept, irrespective of any one man. Okay? It's worth preserving. Freedom. If you don't have freedom, you got nothing. Just look at those poor protesters in Iran who were mowed down. What about the guys in Tiananmen Square that were mowed down? You want to live like the people in North Korea? You know, if communism was so great, why did, so many Venezuelans leave their country? Was it a quarter of the population, half the population? Huge percentage. Yes, Arnold. Yes. Jesus Christ is might have came in the human form, but he's more than a man. More than a man. Trust no man. Exactly, Keith. Trust no man. I've always said that. I've always said that. Always. So, only because people people have been hypnotized. They think this stuff over here is true. Their worldview has been set a certain way, and it's highly skewed. That's why many years ago I did a video about rose-colored glasses. I was explaining worldviews and how we need to deal with it. I was driving through Wetumpka, Alabama when I was making that video, which happens to be, you ever watched the video, what's his name, Brad? Uh, what's his channel? Uh, He's got a big channel on YouTube. Brad. What's his channel name? I used to watch him. Kind of got tired of him. He seemed like I don't know. He seems like he's a little bit on the left side of the spectrum. A little too far over there. He's got a prepping channel. It's real popular. And he's got a place in Alabama. It's in Wetumpka. I was probably driving right by it when I was making that video. I can't think right now. What is the name of his channel? I used to watch it a lot. Double blind mask mind control. Yep. Anyway, guys, yeah, there's a lot of mind control going on. You got to remember the Revelations talks about something called the Great Deception. So great that even the elect would be deceived. So there's a huge, big, great deception. Oh, I'm not going to do the eggs yet. Don't try to guess. I'm just getting the carton ready. We're going to show you a couple of things. But what have we done? We've talked about this situation we're in. We've said, hey, it could go on for 3 months. We might put troops on the ground, boots on the ground. We may go for Carg Island and those other islands, Abu Masa, the lesser and greater Thumb. We might go after QUSHM, however you pronounce that island. That island would be tough. But, if you're going to really try to open Strait of Hormuz, it's probably critical because they got a lot of missiles stored on the islands right in the Strait of Hormuz. And their facilities there are said to be under 1,600 foot of granite. Yeah, you'd take boots on the ground to get this stuff out. Oh, yeah, I was going to go through the chat room. We'll do that in a second, guys. I want to show something here for the people in the chat. Oh, what's going on? My computer is going nuts. Why did that get big? Screens were flashing in and out and going small and big and all over the place. Crazy stuff. Anyway, hang on, guys. Ding 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 ding. All right, guys. In case you don't know, I'm gonna show you my channel first. Bing 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 bing. Where's the share screen? Ding 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 ding. Here it is. Ding 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 ding. All righty. Oh, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Click someone. Try to click someone. Oh, jeez. Stuff's going nuts. Here's a video I did with John Hollerman. He's also on one of our Power Grid Defense Committees. The Task Force on National Homeland Security, which I'm an officer in. Here is a video posted the last day of March on food recalls, food safety, talking about glass, metal, found in like over 34,000 pounds of food. Two separate problems, even with one coming from one source, glass and metal, and talking about rat contaminants causing recalls of 20,000 products, including medical sanitation wipes of all things, contaminated with bacteria. I thought that was supposed to sterilize bacteria, but apparently they still had bacteria and rat contamination. Over 2,000 products recalled just for that. And then you had, it's 34,000 pounds recalled over glass. And then we had tons of just tons of recalls. And I don't know why, but somebody put a thumbs down on that video. Oh, I didn't want to go there. Hey, that's a good channel, by the way. Why did I go there? That is a good channel, by the way. China Uncensored. I'm in the back here trying to get back to my channel. Why is it not working? My computer's going nuts tonight. It's having a seizure. Yeah. Anyway, check this video out if you're not watching. It's got less than 1,000 views, so I know a lot of you probably haven't seen it. Check this video out. And here's what I was talking about: the food prices. Yeah, there's already things happening that's going to cause food inflation. We ain't going to get away from it entirely. Anyway, but why would somebody, when I'm trying to warn you guys about things that could harm you, would somebody give that a thumbs down? Why? If you gave that a thumbs down or you don't like that video, please explain it to me here. I would like to understand why somebody didn't like that video. I'm trying to alert you to what is out there. And it's massive, it's pervasive, it's systemic, it's all over the industry, the problems we're having. I've tried to alert you guys to that. But somebody didn't like it. Put a thumbs down on it. And it's not got that many views. In fact, it's got less than average view time. I do not get that. I don't know why that is. Do you just want to hear war stories, war videos only? Well, I do talk enough of that stuff. But, is that what you want in every video? Some other videos. This is the one where I talk about the House of Klaus, what they got in store for you. Here's another toxic product in dish detergent. I didn't want to select that. I just went over it. Good grief. Just pointed at it. I didn't click anything. This stupid computer is going nuts on it. It's having fits. Here's on the chemical labs. Toxic toothpaste. Over 90% of toothpastes you got toxic products in it. Other toxic products. I've talked about Dawn dish detergent, other dish detergents. This is one you really got to watch if you want to know some of the predicament we're in about why we got to change the way we live, the way we think. We got to stop the hatreds or we're not going to survive. And I got a plan for that. I do have a plan for it. Believe it or not, it's connected to my universal habitat. It's called getting ourselves out of reliance on the government. That's what it's called. I am working multi-front on several things to try to build a better future for us, to give us a chance to get through what we're facing. I'm doing everything I can, guys. How the Iran war ends. It still looks like it's going to end, just like I said in that video 3 weeks ago. I'm not seeing anything different today. But China to attack you. Guys, that is a video you really should watch. If you've not seen it, watch that video. So, a lot of stuff here, my friends. A lot of stuff. Now, if you want to know, that's the latest under videos. Now, if you go to my home page, as I click videos there, what you're going to see is just different videos coming up. You'll see just videos. You're going to see nuclear survival, a lot of nuke survival content here. Worm farming. I'm going to create a playlist for, I only show so many playlists. I'm going to have to take out one or two playlists. I'm probably going to take the breaking news one out because I want to do a geopolitical and a product safety playlist. There's survival prepping. You need to know how to purify and sanitize water. I covered it great depth there in this video. It's 7 years old. Grid down stuff, growing microgreens, aquaponics. I may take that one down. But I'm going to do some more aquaponics. How to garden. There's Diamond. Yeah, I'm showing. Hey, when I did planting videos, I did a lot of prep, garden bed prep in that video. Why? Because if you're going to live without having to go to the store to buy stuff to put in your garden, then that's the kind of stuff you need to see. Fun stuff. I'm probably going to take this one down. It's got videos of my dad in that one, that playlist. Now, these playlists will only show so many videos at a time. But if you hit play all, you'll know that there's a lot more videos in that. Sometimes there's thousands of videos in some of these playlists. If you click wherever the play all button is. Yeah, here it is. Here's a play all. You get the whole list. That's what, this is not a list. This is play all. Yeah, some of those are very long. And some of them got, I probably need to reorganize all that stuff. But I got 1,700. I got 1,700, 1,700, and I got over 1,750 videos posted. I ain't got time to do that. That would take weeks to process all those. Yikes, guys. So, yeah, but that's how you find different things. Here's it hits the fan video. I think this is where I introduced the topics of no, it's a different video where he introduced the topics of East and West Wokistan. Here's why I would not worry about bird flu with my chicken flock. Here's my EMP balloon tack video. I mentioned that a little bit ago. All right, enough for all that. let's look at some things you can do to help yourself. My friends, you can help my channel and help yourself by getting away from all those products. When you buy them, you're supporting House Klaus. And because when you buy a product, your dollars you spend on it are a vote for that company to continue doing what they're doing. These companies are providing you a lot of stuff that's not healthy, a lot of toxic chemicals, heavy metals, like Crest toothpaste, for example, Colgate toothpaste. Yeah, there's one of your dish detergents, Palmolive, uh, even Dove soap, which is supposed to be so pure and wonderful. You think it's still that pure and wonderful these days? No. The formulations for a lot of this stuff has been changed. Like Oreo cookies don't have the cream they used to have. It's kind of a grease paste adhesive that they're using instead of the cream they used to use. And if you've looked, you'll even find videos of them taking a cookie and putting a blowtorch on it. The darn things won't even burn. So there's so many chemicals in this stuff today, it's not funny. And some of it isn't even labeled, as I showed you in the dish detergent video. There are chemicals that they don't even have to label. Now, why? All these big companies that bought out all these others, all these other brand names, they changed the formulas and this stuff where it looks and feels the same, but ain't the same because they want to make it cheaper. They want to last longer. There's Dawn on your grocery store shelf life. And they want to make it, they do put stuff in there to affect the flavor, the texture, the color, artificial additives. And those additives are not good for you. There's a lot of other chemicals and heavy metals, as I've reported in the past. Like I say, when you buy that stuff, you're voting for the House of Klaus, basically, because those guys, if you go to the partners program in the House of Klaus, you're going to find them there. And these three asset management companies own controlling the interest in most of those companies. One of them is run by Larry Fink. That's BlackRock. He founded BlackRock. He also is now running the House of Klaus, the WEF. And if you remember, it was his BlackRock that forced a lot of the companies that they own so much stock in to do things like have, y'all remember during the Biden administration, most of you already forgot about Drag Queen Story Hour? A lot of companies that did not want to feature that were forced to do those. Because it's like, okay, you want your money? It was heinous what happened. But then he kind of got off that bandwagon real fast and started talking cryptocurrency. It became a darling to a lot of people in the independent movement because, oh, he's promoting cryptocurrency. They forgot what he promoted before. You got to remember, where's he at? House of Klaus. Do you trust Larry Fink? If you do, and if you are happy with all these contaminants, just keep right on buying this stuff. But if you're not happy with that, I'd encourage you to go here to switchwithgreg.com and find a way to switch away from that. That's what this is all about. A family-owned company that makes non-toxic products, even the detergents are plant-based. They test them extensively for product safety. They have clean factories. It's all made here in the US of A. And so you support American jobs. So this is not a big website that belongs to the company. This is my own website. I use this, and I got a friend who's in the community that's helping me to contact people to bring them on board. And we're the only two people that's going to see this data. If you ask us to take it out, we'll take it out. So this is going nowhere else, my friends. So just consider it. Go to switchwithgreg.com, fill this out, and we can get you on board to switch away from all this mess and supporting Larry Fink and the House of Klaus. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the show. No, we're going to come here and look at Swillhead News for a minute. This I mentioned earlier. I'm going to do a video real soon again on Swillhead News, and I'm going to talk about the political aspects of all this stuff. So stay tuned. That's a video with, again, my good friend there, John Hollerman. And if you want to be entertained, I got a bunch of poems I did, some political satire. I hadn't done one since, winter before last. I did this when my last one when I was living in my van before I moved in my house here. out here. And a lot of these were done from various locations in Alabama. Well, I was still in Alabama. It was up my old log barn, which no longer exists. But yeah, there's a ton of videos here, and they're all meant to be funny. It's political satire. Sniffy Joe. Sniffy Joe's ice cream economy. AOC's got to go. Come on, this thing ain't clicking. Is there clicking this thing? It's not clicking. My computer died on me. There we go. Kamala, Pres Taterhead. Oh, I wasn't trying to start it. Anyway, so check out my Swivelhead News channel. Watch my shorts. You get a kick out of them, I would think. If y'all like my cigar skit, you'll like those. But sometimes I take a song and I reword it and kind of sing it. I'm not saying I'm a good singer, but it's still entertaining. And a lot of times I write a poem and, recite my poem for some of those videos. So yeah, it's all political satire. Anyway, so my friends, I'm going to stop the share now. I'm going to put a little more attention to the chat room. It's almost 3 in the morning. I got to get up in a little bit, so I can't stay much longer. We'll do the egg guess in a minute. I'm not going to be able to read every comment, but I'm going to try to go through and pick some out, look at them through the chat room, get some notion of what people are saying. All the sun, good to see you. Gizmo, how you doing? It's a great name, Gizmo. Gregory Bolin. All right. Thoughts on leaving Iran area at this point and letting Israel take care of the rest? I imagine their interests are just as much as ours or more. Yeah, Israel has been doing just as they do with the Hezbollah and Hamas, sometimes the Houthis in Yemen. They periodically attack all these places, and they call it mowing the lawn. It's like, you hit them, you knock them down, but they start growing back, so you go back and hit them again and knock them down again, like in mow a lawn. That's their terminology, mowing the lawn. So that's what they claim they're doing, or whatever it's worth. Mowing the lawn. But anyway, so they might do that. They couldn't hit Iran with their jet fighters until recently. They just got the tankers that enable them to refuel and keep doing it. So maybe they would take care of you. A solar flare on the way this morning. Yeah, there is a solar flare, Eddie. Maybe I should pull up space weather and go to there in a little bit. Since you mentioned that, might go back there in just a little bit. Let me read through the chat room first. La 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 la. Ding 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 ding. Where was I at? Dropped it. Where was my chat room at? Did I knock it out? There it is. Now I'm reading. So I was watching the chat room. I got an old laptop. Half the keys don't work on. I pull up YouTube and I'm watching that over my shoulder. That way I can see if there's a super chat because it flashes a color while I'm talking to you guys. And I got the chat room screen. But it's easier for me to read what's directly in front of me. Happy Easter. Hey, Captain America, Captain Pina. I want to live in Snowflake Mesa, too hot. Where you at, Greg? Greg Littrell? That's that right? South of Pay. Yep, that's true. Sub to Swivelhead News Channel. Well, thank you there, Hardwood Farms. Anonymous mouse person. If he leaves, the petrodollar will be gone. That's what a lot of analysts are saying. That's what analysts are saying. Well, Saudi Arabia is still taking some most of their oil in dollars, especially since Trump got back in office. They're about to chunk it under Biden. Saudi said they're going to help the strait with their military. Well, right now, one of the things they got on the table, one of the things that the administration is trying to set up is a multinational force to keep the strait open. And so far, all the people they're talking about doing that with are Arabic countries. No, I'll say Muslim countries, not all Arabic, because it includes Turkey. Turkey's a Muslim nation, but they're Turkish. They're Turks. They're not Arabs. Just like Indonesians are Muslim, but they're not Arab. Same with Persia, Iran. Iranians are not Arabs. They're Persian. Old man Bush was evil. Yeah, I think so. Well, I think they both were. I don't trust any of the Bushes. Ray, do you think the brotherhood is going to be a problem here like it is in England and down under? Could be. If they can become a problem, they will. Sorry, he scared a out of you. Who scared you, David Jones? Yeah, there are some channels that put out stuff like constantly, like every night. It's alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. And they'll tell you that the sky is falling every night. I don't do that. I've had people contact me after seeing one of these alerts on these channels. Oh, Greg, did you see this? This is going to happen. I said, no, 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 it's not. Calm down. Here's what that's really all about. They go, oh, well, thank you. Yikes. But I probably got it all wrong because that's what everybody watches. That's where all the views go. If you want to be big on YouTube, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. Heard Trump say it's going to take 10 to 15 years to rebuild. Most of the stuff it will whoosh, probably, most likely. We now for their enrichment program depends on if their uranium survives. If they keep it, they might put special emphasis on that. Got to remember they got a lot of underground tunnels still, and they may get special help from North Korea. We don't know yet. Riverway Avenue. I bugged out 5 years ahead of Katrina. The instruments of death are prepared. King James Version, KJV. I guess that's what you mean by KJV. Can't argue with that. Good for you. I don't know, but I guess the dealership left the keys hanging, but I remember the story. Well, Baxter Farm and Homestead, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Without the grid, it puts the civilians at rest, not a good direction. That's true. That is the downside, big time. Some people think it will cause them to rise up, but they're still at risk. Now, maybe they could selectively take down power grid nodes that won't cause a system wide cascade problem that are adjacent to their military operations. But then again, they're launching drones from all over the country, out of garages, just anywhere and everywhere. So that might be hard to deal with. But their drone attacks are diminishing in number. Hegseth just recently said that he believes they're diminishing because a lot of the troops are defecting. They're going home to take care of mom and the kids, or they just don't get bombed. So they're leaving their post. Cheery weather, good to see you in the house. Those were the days, huh? I know it must have been when I was talking about my Clinton joke, right? How many people we actually got in here right now? We need to do a refresh over here. So Trump and Hegseth have talked about regime change. It's already happened. In a way, it has, in that the power that was in power isn't there. The leadership they had is gone. But the IRGC seems to be taking the helm, and they're going to be more problematic probably than what we had there before. Now, maybe if there is some split in Iran. Another thing I hadn't talked about tonight is that this Speaker of the Parliament they're talking with his life is probably at risk because he is negotiating. The hardliners don't like that, and so there's a good chance they will try to take him out, him and any moderates. And then again, he's supposed to negotiate with us. He's the Speaker of the Parliament, but he's not the supreme leader. He's not the head of the IRGC. So does he really have any power? If you negotiate with somebody that doesn't have any power, what do you accomplish? And as we know, the IRGC got fractured according to the 31 different provinces in Iran. Every province has its own IRGC commander, and they were told when the central command breaks, you take charge and keep fighting. So do we have to negotiate peace with every single IRGC Providence commander. I would like, it would be glad, I would be glad to go home with the Lord. Okay. I can't argue with that, but I do think we got work to do here right now. Do we have backup transformers? No. Wish these transformers are custom built for the locations they're at, for the grid they're serving. They weigh 200 to 400 tons apiece. There's only a handful of rail cars and or trucks that can move them. The coils are hand wound. It takes a lot of skill to wind those coils. South Africa had a solar chrome massagation and took out some of their big transformers. And they said, we'll do our own. We won't buy these from overseas. We'll just do them ourselves. Their transformers that they did themselves all failed in 3 years because they didn't have the real expertise to do it. When you lose a transformer, the back orders right now takes 3 years to fill. 3 years to refill to get a new one on the loading dock. If the entire power grid is down, your money's gone. It's digital. Your requisition means today we used to order stuff with paper out of catalogs and notebooks. Everything is on the computer today. The computer systems are down. The money is gone. How do you even order it? How would you even order one today if your power grid's down? If you did order it and over 9 out of 10 people perished in a year and you get it 3 years later, who's going to install it? Guys, this is Humpty Dumpty. Our power grid is literally Humpty Dumpty. You'll never see it back in your lifetime. And I did do a video where I talked about all the resources that we used to have available to us at our fingertips that are now requiring, you used to pick up copper nuggets off the ground. You could stick a stick in the ground in Pennsylvania and up would come bubbling crude. Remember Jed in East Tennessee and the Beverly Hillbillies? Shooting at some food and up through the ground come the bubbling crude oil, that is, Texas tea, black gold. Well, folks, that don't happen no more. We got drilling rigs that they're operating where the water's a couple miles deep. And then they got to drill 2 or 3 more miles down through the crust just to get the petroleum pulling up. Those drilling rigs aren't something you can go whoop up mom and pop shop and take out there. And once the grid's down, all this stuff breaks down and the entire system breaks apart. It don't come back. We're back in the Stone Age, basically. It's going to take a long time to come back. But here's the thing, you may never be able to, because the way we got where we're at was through easy to get to resources. They're gone. The ore we mine today is, just a percent. We used to get pure ore. It's very puny now. It takes a lot of processing, heavy equipment, industrial processes. They'll all be gone. Wish they took out the parliament leaders, and Pope figure. Yeah, that was their supreme leader. Yeah, they took out a lot of, the top leadership in the military, the church. Oh, I'm getting a red line on my mic again. So the math ain't mathing. What math is that, Baxter? Old school knowledge. Kathy Humps, what happened to Mexico and how did Venezuela leave the state so quickly? Well, the people in Venezuela was left after Maduro went out. They decided they needed to negotiate with the United States. So they knew we effectively had a blockade on them. So if they wanted to be able to sell oil and stay in power, they had to deal with us, or else they were going to be out. So that's what they did. Canada monitoring our right of way going up to Alaska and charging us per convoy. Are they? To get to use our bases up there. Really? Oh my gosh. I drove the Alaskan highway, what was called the Alaskan Canadian highway. Didn't have any problem back in 83 when I drove down it. Pesky sourdoughs. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing now. Back in the day, if you had a nug, you could put it in a box and sell it and ship it. You could carry it with you. but now probably can't even do that. Hauling rock today. All right, shoe weather. Our biggest threat is Washington. It is a big threat, but China has a bio warfare plan against us. I have a hard time seeing anything bigger than that as a threat. Did France deny U.S. planes carrying weapons access to their airspace? They did it first. When I was in the Army, we used to have an old saying. France, I don't think was a member of NATO at that point, and France was pretty left-leaning. I mean, what was his name? Mitterrand was the prime minister of France, president, whatever it is over there. Mitterrand. He was almost pro-Russian. He was definitely a big-time socialist, probably communist. He was kind of like Macron today, or like Bill Clinton, maybe, or Obama. Yeah, maybe not Biden or Kamala. I don't know. When I was in the Army, we used to always have this saying: "What happens if you get a war with Russia and you got the Frenchmen at your back?" And the answer to that question was, you turn around and shoot the Frenchmen, and then you go fight the Russians. That's what we used to say. And that's what everybody in the Army used to say. We used to think it was funny. We used to laugh about it. Yeah, you got to yeah, Frenchman was at your back. You didn't know what he was going to do, so you take care of that problem first, then go fight the Russians. Yeah. I'm not counting on the power grid. Don't. Gas, diesel, all that'll be gone if you can't pump it. LP, once you can't pump it, don't have power to pump it. It's all going to go bye-bye. If we get to the point y'all can't hear me, tell me, because this mic may die up here in a little bit. The receiver, not the mic. Mic's got plenty of juice. The receiver is running out of power. I can take it out and switch mics to the phone mic, to the camera mic. It won't be quite as good. How did the power defense conferences go? Did people listen? We had some. We had some. The first one actually had the best attendance. The second one cost us more money. We put it on in a hotel. We lost $23,000 in that conference. We did have some workshops where we were trying to come up with means to supply water to Brown's Ferry if everything went down. I did meet with we had a member of the state, what do they call it, that regulates the power grid, his commissioner of state. I'm forgetting right now. He actually came to our power grid defense conference. Good guy. And we went to Montgomery and met with state officials. After that, me and Dr. Pry, Peter Vincent Pry, he had a EMP specialist from the Army, Dr. Steve Smith. He's probably passed away now. And yeah, the three of us went to Montgomery. Like a decent bloodline issue. Oh. Yes, Pyramid 7. Marf. Yeah, I don't trust them. Anybody that sells that crap, I don't trust. And I've heard other people talk about them, and I'm not going to repeat it, but other people have talked about them. Messaging the markets, not sure I believe anything Donnie is saying. Yeah, that's a lot of what he's doing. He is stroking the markets. That's true. A lot of people think that. It could be. But a lot of what he's saying may be negotiating room or posturing for his negotiations or deception for whatever attacks he's going to do. I don't know. Great impression. Oh, fun time, liked it. A lot of people were laughing. I was doing the Billy Clinton impression there. Eddie, you missed me doing Bill Clinton. Slick Willie. Could not sleep. John Cole's in the house. Colonel Cole, are you still with us? I was talking about you earlier, talking about all the IEDs that took out a lot of your people. Because I get people all the time saying, I get people all the time saying, well, Iran never did anything in the United States. Tell them about it, Colonel Cole. Tell them about it. Hey, I missed your call there. Try calling you back. Hope you're still in the house. If you are, say hi. I'm scrolling down to the chat room real fast, trying to get to the bottom as I'm running out of mic juice. Hey, Patrick Carlson. Yeah, I'm a rocket man. And for those that don't believe it, I what my cat. Maybe I can see this. Let me see my video. I'll pick it up because the cats are asleep behind me. You see this right here? That's a solid fuel grain for a hybrid rocket, our Cat's Prize rocket. This is a rocket engine. We actually fired it. This rocket engine right here, 3-second burn out part of the fuel grain. It's built for 8-second burn. So, how many YouTubers got a rocket engine set behind them, including the ones that do space videos? How many of them actually work space stuff? They talk about it, but most of them never worked it. I'm still working. I've got decades in the industry. Could be bot. Oh, you think the thumbs down was a bot? Could be. Could be. Maybe. I don't understand why anybody would put a thumbs down on a video when I'm trying to tell you how to be safe, telling you the threats and the food and consumer products you're getting. Artemis is scheduled lunch, and yeah, I plan to cover it live on. So what I'm going to do, if they're watching Artemis 2 tomorrow, good Lord willing, I plan to be live on my Galactic Greg's channel. And I will plan to come on to my Swivelhead News channel and talk about the political ramifications for what we're facing. Why it's a huge threat that a lot of you do not understand. I will try to paint that in terms you will understand. So I just want y'all to understand. Hey, Nicholas, how you doing? And JURNYMN, does that stand for journeyman? Morning, Greg. Just turned into work. Oh, Lord. Yeah, anybody's just catching me, watch this on the rewind. I guess Colonel Cole done went back to bed. He should have. It's in the wee hours of the morning. I actually saw almost sunrise over in Alabama where he's at. Yeah, Galactic Greg's channel. For those that's never seen it, I'll pull that up. Hang on a minute. Give me a second. A second. I will show you guys this channel. Oh, let me show you something else before we go there. I'm going to do a share screen. Bada bing, bada bang. Where's my share screen button at? There it is. It's right next to the kill the video button. I have done that. I've missed and terminated the video. I didn't mean to. If you're looking for Galactic Greg's, it's Jerry GS, no apostrophe. There is a Galactic Greg's with an apostrophe, and there's a Galactic Greg without an S. I don't see Galactic Greg right now. This is my channel. This is a comic book channel with apostrophe. The one without an S is a preacher. His channel might have been taken down. Well, is that it? Nope. That's the comic book channel. I went out on Galactic Greg. He was a preacher. He started his channel after I started mine. But this is a comic book channel. He's only got 221 subscribers. I don't know how many videos he's got. But Galactic Greg's is right here. I'm going to copy the channel name and stick it in the chat room for you guys. I got to go. I got to get up a little bit myself. So here's a video where I was talking about Mount Hayes, because there's some people saying there's a joint UFO base in Mount Hayes. It's a joint U.S. military UFO base. That is absolutely not true. And if you want to know why, watch that video. I know for a fact that's not true. I ain't going to say it's not a UFO base, but there's not a joint U.S. military UFO base. I'm going to tell you that. And then there's been a lot of reports. I'm still seeing articles that come out, like even yesterday or today, I saw an article claiming that these spots on these photographic plates on Mount Palomar were indicative and proof of UFOs. I actually shot that down in this video. I'm not saying there's no UFOs. Actually, I believe that we have the technology to build them ourselves. But and here's the vanishing general. I did a couple of videos on that. There's still more stuff coming out on that all the time. My most popular video, though, is on anti-gravity technology. So again, if you want to know what's popular on the channel, just click videos and go for popular. These anti-gravity videos. And Amy Eskridge is no longer with us. Her death was highly suspicious, as was the case with Ning Lee. Yes, I knew both of them. F-1 rocket engine, moon rocket, air turbo rocket motor. So I've done some videos talking about rocket engines. Quite a few different topics over here on U.S. Army anti-gravity program. I'm really talking a lot about Ning Lee in this one. Yes, the U.S. Army had an anti-gravity program that went on for better than a decade. And I proved it in this video. A lot of people don't know that. And why is it that Elon Musk can't drive a UFO? Why's he got to build rockets? Yes. If the government's got the technology, why does the richest man on earth not get it? Well, watch that video. Anyway, so Galactic Greg's swivel head news here. Yeah, I've not done a whole lot of videos on here lately, but anyway, so I'm gonna stop the share again. Bada bing, bada bang. And guess what time it is? If my microphone die before I do it, let me pull up the chat room here again. Where am I at? There it is. Yeah, we're gonna watch Artemis. Yeah, solar flare might delay the launch. It really might, because the solar flare could wipe out the crew. The solar flare could wipe out the crew. So that might delay the launch. And want the sun to be calm. It's got to be calm for a while. Don't guess yet, Eddie. Wait till I say go. But no, that's not the answer. All righty. Here we are. Egg guess time. How many eggs did I harvest today? How many eggs did I harvest today? -10 in Western Alberta. -10 C. Yeah, you're cold there, Arnold. How many eggs I get today, folks? The reason I say don't do it for I'm guessing is people be throwing numbers up throughout the chat. I won't see them. Keep guessing, keep guessing, keep guessing. Not 20. I wish. I only got 12 hens. Keep guessing, keep guessing, keep guessing, keep guessing. Nobody got it yet. Wow, nobody got it yet. I had 4 yesterday. Nobody got it yet. Wow. Nobody got it yet. Wow, you guys bouncing all around it, but you haven't got the right number. Nope. You ain't got it yet. Come on, keep guessing. There it is. Kim. Kim, you get this a lot. Kim Blanchard. It was 11. I only had 4 yesterday. Today, 11. Yesterday, just 4. Today, 11. Kim Blanchard got it. Hope I'm saying your name right. 11. All right, stop guessing. The number's 11. Stop guessing. Kim got it first, witness. Don't guess nothing yet till I say go. Because there's another question coming. Some people try to combine these. Don't do that. Because then you got to get both numbers right to be right. How many Easter eggs did I get? How many of my eggs were Easter eggs this time? Whoa, there we go. Keith from Arizona. You got it. Keith from Arizona got it first. Eddie, you got the right number, but Keith beat you to it. And both of you are here in Arizona. Both of you are here in Arizona. I met you both personally. That's funny. 3. I got 3 Easter eggs today. Today it was 3 Easter eggs. Oh, what's going on here? And here are the Easter eggs. this one, this one, and this one. Yesterday I only had 4 eggs, and 2 of them were Easter eggs. But I got 3 Easter eggs today. And these are mostly Dominecker eggs. That might be my leghorn, but that's kind of a dark egg for a leghorn. What do you think? I think she ain't laying anything. She might have to go to the stew pot. I don't know. I'm expecting white eggs from a leghorn hen. I think I've seen 1 or 2 white eggs since I got them. So she might wind up in the stew pot. What do y'all think? Should my leghorn go to the stew pot? Anyway, all right, I'm going to minimize this screen so I can see the chat room here again. Okay, my escape button ain't working now. Lordy, it seems driving me nuts, this computer is. Yes, awesome blessings. That's true, all the sun. That is so true. Well, before I go, I'm going to check my phone again, because there are some people that watch that are working and they don't go in the chat room, but they still manage to throw me a donation sometimes. So I'll give credit where it's due if it's coming across, because they'll do it through my website. Not tonight, but we got a new person for our sign up. Very good. All righty. Yes, Kim, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And yummy raw eggs. Well, I don't wash the bloom off of them, because if you don't wash them, it lasts for a long time. That means the outside of the shell is not exactly sanitary. So I cook my eggs. I cook them all well. I try very carefully to crack them so that no eggshell gets into what I'm cooking. But I'm careful. But I have ate a lot of raw eggs, especially when I used to camp out a lot. I'll take an egg and just bump it on my noggin and crack it on in and thump the top off and turn it up. That's the way I'd eat them. That's actually, it'll all just go straight down. You can swallow that egg all at once if you do it that way. But, that's said that you're at risk of salmonella if you do that. I don't know. I never caught it, but don't mean they couldn't. I knew a lot of people ate them that way. Arnold, yeah, you win a self-paid trip to Lost Wages. That's for the people who got the egg guesses right. A self-paid trip to Lost Wages. Lost Wages isn't too far from me. I can get there with I don't know, 7-hour drive, maybe. I don't know what it is. It's a fair drive over there, but it's just on the other side of the state, really. 6 or 7-hour drive, maybe 6 hours. Anyway, been a long time since I've been there. Last time I went there was for a job interview with Bigelow Aerospace. They hired me, but then they delayed my start date. So I went to Cool Hand Luke. That was a good movie. That was a great movie, Cool Hand Luke. Went to jail for cutting off the tops of parking meters. Lost his life. Anyway, that was a good movie. Cool Hand Luke. Yeah, they used to make good movies once upon a time. What they made today, I don't care nothing about. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to say thank you, Super Chatters. We had server tonight, and we had Serial Super Chatter and Carrie the Serial Super Chatter. It kind of alliterates a little bit. We had a number of super chats, and I want to thank all you super chatters. I want to thank you, mods, for keeping the channel clean. I want to thank all of you for watching. And to one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. And in memory of Granny Lana, who always liked it when I said this, because she always followed what I believe. And she kept me doing it outside the holiday season, because I am Santa. Ho, ho, ho.